right, so get ready, because today we're diving deep into a moment that really shook up the world of AI. We're talking about Move 37. It was this legendary Go match between AlphaGo from Google DeepMind and Lee Sedol, the world champion Go player.
Yeah, this match, it wasn't just like some game, It was like challenging the very idea of what AI could even do. Go has always been seen as this ultimate test for human intuition and strategy. It's got so many moves. Like traditional AI with just brute force calculation, it wouldn't have worked.
Exactly. With Go, it's all about feeling out the game, seeing the patterns, and making creative decisions. It's almost an art form.
Yeah, totally. So when DeepMind came out saying their program could beat a world champ, people were like, no way.
Yeah, they're super skeptical.
And then AlphaGo wins the whole thing. Against Lee Sedol back in 2016, everyone was shocked. It was huge for AI. Suddenly, people were like, whoa, AI could actually master something as complex as Go.
Crazy, right? And then right in the middle of this whole thing, Move 37, this move that became the symbol of AI thinking differently. It happened in Game 2, and man, it left everyone speechless.
Yeah.
Watching it is just wild.
Just picture it, Lee Sedol, a Go master, up against this AI. Commentators, all Go experts, are breaking down every single move, and then AlphaGo puts a stone down in a spot that's just bizarre. Even the pros are baffled.
Yeah, I saw the video and the commentators were like, what is going on? Is this even legal?
It was a fifth line shoulder hit, a move so rare it almost never happens there.
They're describing it as surprising, unusual. At first they're even like, is that a mistake? And Lee Sedol, he's totally thrown. He actually just leaves the room for a long time to try to wrap his head around it.
It's like AlphaGo pulled a move no human would ever even consider.
And afterward, pro Go players studied Move 37, and yeah, it was that rare. Andrej Karpathy, that big AI researcher, he even tweeted about it, saying, a human doing that move, 1 in 10,000 Dow chance. It wasn't just about AlphaGo copying how humans play, it was developing its own way of thinking about the whole game. Okay, so now this is where it gets super interesting for me. How did AlphaGo even come up with that? How was it playing Go differently than all those other AI programs?
You got to think of those old programs like a giant rule book, right? They basically got fed every move and counter move in Go, tried to calculate their way to winning. But Go is so complex, that way just hits a wall.
It's like trying to teach someone to write poetry. But you just give them a dictionary and a grammar book. They'll know the words and rules, but that doesn't mean they can write a beautiful poem.
Exactly. AlphaGo wasn't just following pre-programmed rules, it was using a combo of neural networks and something called Monte Carlo tree search. Neural networks are based on how our brains work. They let AI learn from tons of data. So AlphaGo studied millions of human games, but it also played millions against itself.
Oh, wow. So it wasn't just being told what to do, it was learning by doing, almost like a human apprentice.
You got it. And that self-play, super important. It wasn't just copying humans, it was experimenting, trying stuff, even messing up, and learning from it. That's how it got its own style, leading to moves like 37.
So it's like AlphaGo was developing its own intuition, its own understanding of the game that went beyond what we humans have figured out.
Exactly. And that brings us to this big question. Was Move 37 actually creative? Was it a risk or a lucky mistake? Which then leads to an even bigger question. How do we even define creativity when we're talking about AI?
Yeah, that is a big question. I mean, it won the game, so it was a good move.
Right.
But can we really say a machine is being creative, like how we are?
Some argue that creativity needs intent, being aware of what you're creating. And a machine's just following its programming, right? So no real intent.
But there's that essay by John Mennick, Move 37, Artificial Intelligence, Randomness, and Creativity. He's like, maybe you don't need intent for creativity to happen. He compares how AlphaGo learned to natural selection in evolution. Evolution makes amazing life forms, but there's no conscious plan behind it. It's random changes and adapting to the environment.
Right. That's a really interesting point. Maybe our human idea of creativity is too narrow. Maybe it can come from unexpected places, processes we don't fully get.
And get this, even though Move 37 was so shocking at first, when pro Go players really looked at it, they were impressed. Fan Hui, this pro who lost to an early version of AlphaGo, he called Move 37 beautiful. Admitted he'd never seen a human do that.
There's some irony there, huh? A move that seemed like a blunder ended up expanding our understanding of Go. It's like AlphaGo was teaching us something new about the game, about what was even possible.
Okay, so now this brings up another big one. How does Move 37 and this whole AlphaGo thing challenge our own ideas about intelligence? Are we too quick to dismiss AI as just calculations, not thinking it could have intuition or creativity?
Humans, we tend to see ourselves as the smartest, the only ones who can be truly creative. So when a machine shakes that up, it gets uncomfortable.
It's like we're looking in a mirror, but the reflection is off something weird. Makes us question what we thought we knew.
Even in the Go world, reactions were mixed. Some players were blown away by AlphaGo. Others downplayed Move 37, saying humans probably did similar stuff before. But the impact, that shock of a machine doing the unexpected, that was huge.
It's like maybe humans did make Move 37 kind of moves, but because it was a machine, it meant something totally different. Made us pay attention.
That context matters. Can't separate what AlphaGo did from that moment. People were already worried about AI getting too strong, what it meant for work, art, even consciousness.
So Move 37, it wasn't just a game. It was like a symbol of how AI was changing everything, challenging our understanding of what was even possible.
Exactly. And that symbol is still relevant today as AI keeps evolving. Which brings us to another question. What does AlphaGo winning and making moves like 37 mean for the future of AI and how it'll work with human experts?
That's a huge question. What happens when AI starts doing things that are inhuman, but they work? Does that make human expertise obsolete, or will we figure out ways to work with these machines?
Well, Karpathy actually thinks we're going to see more Move 37 moments in other fields as AI keeps getting better. He thinks we'll see AI coming up with creative solutions in things like science, art, medicine, even everyday problems.
Whoa. So are we on the edge of a whole new era where AI isn't just helping us do things better, but showing us completely new ways to think and solve problems?
That's the idea. And that's what makes it so exciting and a little bit scary, to be honest. What happens when AI starts making strategies that are so different from ours, so outside our human way of thinking? Will we even get it, control it, or will it start controlling us?
Whoa, that is a lot to think about. But before we go all existential, I think we should step back and understand exactly how AlphaGo even did what it did. What were those cognitive strategies Karpathy talks about, and how are they different from how we think?
Well, let's start with looking at how AlphaGo's neural networks actually work. Remember how we talked about it learning from data? Those networks, they're made up of layers and layers of these connected nodes, kind of like a simple model of our brain. Each node processes info, passes it on, and by training on huge amounts of data, the network learns to see patterns, make predictions.
Okay, I get that. But how does that work for playing Go? How does a neural network even understand the game?
Imagine this. The neural network is fed a ton of Go boards, plus info on who won each game. Over time, it starts seeing patterns in those positions, figuring out which setups usually lead to wins. It's like developing a gut feeling for a strong position, even if it can't explain the logic.
So it's not memorizing specific moves, it's learning the deeper rules of the game, like an intuitive feel for a good move.
Yeah, and that's where Monte Carlo tree search comes in. This technique helps AlphaGo check out different moves, see how they might turn out. Like a branching tree of choices, each path is a different set of moves.
So it's looking ahead, trying to guess how the game will go based on different choices.
Right, but it's not just trying every single move. It uses that intuition from the neural network to guide its search, focusing on branches that look good, this combo of intuition and strategy. That's how AlphaGo plays at such a high level.
Okay, that makes sense. But how does this explain Move 37 specifically? Did the AI just stumble onto something brilliant by trying stuff out?
It's more than that. Remember, it played millions of games against itself while it was learning. This let it test different strategies, even ones that humans might think are bad.
So it was willing to break the rules, to try things humans wouldn't even think of, because we're stuck in our way of understanding the game.
You got it. And what's amazing is that by doing this, it learned that some of these weird strategies are really effective, even against the best humans.
So Move 37 wasn't just luck. It was because the AI could explore the game in ways we just can't.
Right, and this is what Karpathy calls cognitive strategies. AlphaGo wasn't following a script. It was developing its own way of thinking about the game, its own approach to solving problems.
That is fascinating. So is this the difference between AI and humans? This ability to think outside the box, to see possibilities we wouldn't because of our own limits and biases?
It's definitely key. Human players. We're limited by what we've experienced, what we know from past games, and the typical Go strategies. AI, free to explore everything, not held back by human conventions.
It's like AI is giving us a fresh look at the game, showing us there's more to go than we thought. But it also raises some big questions. If AI can develop these cognitive strategies, how do we make sure they match our goals and values? What if AI starts finding solutions we don't understand or agree with?
That's the crucial question as we keep making AI. We need to think about building AI that's not just smart, but also ethical, matching human values.
This is where it gets philosophical, but we have to talk about it. If AI is going to be a bigger part of our lives, we got to make sure it's working with us, not against us.
Couldn't agree more. And that means it can't just be AI experts talking, but also ethicists, philosophers, regular people. AI's future. It's a question for all of us.
Well said. Okay, so we've covered how AlphaGo learned, how it developed its own thinking style, and how that led to Move 37. But what really hit people wasn't just the tech, it was the feeling. Seeing a machine do something so unexpected, so brilliant, it made people question what it even means to be intelligent, to be creative.
Yeah, it's true. Move 37 wasn't just about Go. It was a moment that made us face our own ideas about intelligence and creativity.
And it matters today, as AI keeps getting better. But we have to remember, AI is powerful, but it's a tool. We get to decide how to use it, how it develops, and how it helps us.
Absolutely. As we keep exploring what AI can do, we need that sense of wonder, but also caution. The risks are there, along with the rewards. Got to work together to make sure AI is used for good.
Okay, so we've looked at the technical side of AlphaGo, the impact of Move 37, and the ethics we need to think about. But what everyone really wants to know is, what does this mean for the future? What can we learn from AlphaGo, and how will AI keep changing our world?
You know, it's funny to think a single move in a Go match could change how we see AI in the future.
But that's how it is with big breakthroughs. They come from unexpected places and make us rethink everything. Remember how people thought AI could never really master Go? Because it was all about intuition and creativity. Well, AlphaGo winning, and especially Move 37, totally flipped that idea.
It showed us that AI can not only play with humans at the highest level of strategy, but it can also come up with totally new solutions, ones we've never even thought of.
It's like AI was showing us this hidden side of Go, a side we missed because of our limited way of seeing things.
And this idea of AI revealing hidden sides, it's true for so many other fields, like science. What if AI could analyze tons of data and find patterns that would take us forever to figure out?
Or art. What if AI could help us create totally new kinds of art? Stuff that pushes the boundaries of what we thought was possible.
The possibilities are mind-blowing. But it's not just about AI making discoveries, it's about AI changing how we think, how we solve problems.
Right, like Carpethy's cognitive strategies idea. AI isn't just copying how we think, it's developing its own ways of tackling challenges.
And those ways can be super valuable because they're not limited by our human biases and assumptions.
It's like AI is giving us a new way to see the world, to break free from our old ways of thinking and consider solutions we wouldn't have dreamed of.
And that could change everything, from climate change to new medical treatments to even understanding the universe itself.
So we have this powerful tool with the potential to change so many things. But as we talked about, we have to be careful.
The key is remembering AI isn't magic, it's a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It depends on us, the humans who make it and use it.
Which is why it's so important to have these talks about AI ethics, to make rules and make sure it's used the right way.
And those talks need to involve everyone, not just experts and politicians, but everyday people, because AI will affect all of us.
Because ultimately, the future of AI isn't up to a few big companies or governments. It's something we all have to shape together.
So as we finish this deep dive into Move 37 and the world of AI, I hope you walk away with a sense of both the potential and the responsibility that comes with these new technologies.
It's a future full of challenges.
Yeah.
But it's also full of amazing possibilities. And it's a future we get to create. So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.
So those networks, they're made of like layers upon layers of these connected nodes, kind of like a simplified version of our brains. Each node takes an info and sends it on. And by training on a massive amount of data, the network learns to spot patterns, make predictions.
Okay, I think I'm following you. But how does that translate to playing Go? How does it even understand the game?
Think of it this way. You feed the network tons of different Go board positions, right? Along with who won each game. Over time, it picks up on the patterns in those positions. It starts figuring out which setups usually lead to a win, almost like developing a gut feeling about a strong position, even if it can't put it into words.
So it's not just memorizing moves, it's learning the underlying principles, like developing an intuition for what makes a good move, even if it can't explain why.
Exactly. And that's where the Monte Carlo tree search comes in. This technique helps AlphaGo test out different moves and kind of see how they might play out. It's like a tree with branches, each branch representing a different sequence of moves.
So it's looking ahead, trying to predict how the game might unfold based on different choices.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not just brute forcing, trying every possible move. It uses what it's learned from the neural network, that intuition, to guide its search, focusing on the branches that seem more promising. That combination of intuition and strategic exploration, that's how AlphaGo gets so good.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture. But how does all that explain move 37? Was it just random? Did it just stumble onto a brilliant strategy?
No, it's not random. It's more nuanced than that. Remember all those games AlphaGo played against itself while it was training?
Yeah, millions of games, right?
Exactly. And that let it experiment with all sorts of strategies, even ones that we might consider weird or even bad.
So it was willing to break the rules, to try things human players wouldn't even think of.
Yep. Because we're so used to our way of understanding the game. And the amazing thing is, through all that experimentation, it found out that some of those offbeat strategies, they could actually be super effective, even against the top players.
Wow. So move 37, it wasn't just luck, it was a direct result of the AI's ability to explore the game in ways humans simply can't.
Right, and that's what Karpathy's talking about with those cognitive strategies. It's not just following rules, it's developing its own way of thinking about Go, its own approach to problem solving.
That is mind-blowing. So is this what sets AI apart from us? This ability to think outside the box, to see possibilities that we wouldn't even consider because of our own biases and limitations?
It's a big part of it, for sure. Human players, we're limited by our experiences, what we've learned from past games, the standard strategies. But AI, it can explore every possibility. It's not held back by human conventions.
It's like AI is showing us there's a whole other side to go, more to it than we ever realized. But this also brings up some big questions, doesn't it? If AI can develop these unique cognitive strategies, how do we make sure they align with what we want, with our values? What do they come up with solutions we don't understand or even agree with?
That's the million-dollar question. It's crucial that we figure that out as we develop more AI systems. We have to think about how to build AI that's not just smart, but ethical. AI that works with human values.
This is where it starts to get a little philosophical, isn't it? But these conversations are important. If AI is going to play a bigger and bigger role in our lives, we need to make sure it's on our side.
100%. And it can't just be the AI experts having this conversation. We need ethicists, philosophers, everyday people. Everyone needs to be involved in figuring out the future of AI.
Well said. So we've talked about how AlphaGo learned to play, how it came up with its own style of thinking, and how that led to Move 37. But I think what really got to people wasn't just the technical stuff, it was the feeling, Seeing a machine make a move that was so unexpected, so seemingly brilliant, it made people question everything. What it means to be intelligent, what it means to be creative.
You're absolutely right. It was more than just a game. It was a moment that made us confront our own ideas about intelligence and creativity. And it made us look at AI in a whole new light.
Yeah, for sure. Move 37 wasn't just about Go. It was this moment that made us face our own ideas about intelligence and creativity. And it still matters today as AI keeps getting better.
Yeah.
But we have to remember, AI is powerful, but it's a tool. We decide how to use it, how it develops, and how it helps us.
Exactly. As we keep exploring what AI can do, we need that wonder. But also some caution. The risks are there along with all those rewards. We got to work together to make sure AI is used for good. It's funny to think that just one move in a Go match could change how we think about AI and what it means for the future.
But that's how it is with these big breakthroughs that kind of come out of nowhere and make us rethink everything. Remember we were talking about how people thought AI could never be good at Go? Because it was all about intuition and creativity. AlphaGo winning, especially Move 37, completely changed that.
It showed us that AI can not only play with the best humans, but it can also come up with totally new ideas, solutions we've never even thought of.
It's like AI was showing us the secret part of Go, a part that we couldn't see because we're so limited in how we think.
And that idea of AI showing us new things, it's not just about Go. It applies to so many other things too, like science. What if AI could look at tons of data and find patterns that would take us forever to figure out?
Or art. What if it could help us create totally new kinds of art? Stuff we haven't even imagined yet.
It's mind-blowing, but it's not just about AI making discoveries. It's about AI changing how we think, how we solve problems.
Yeah, like that cognitive strategies idea. AI isn't just copying us, it's coming up with its own ways of solving problems.
And those ways of thinking can be so helpful because they're not limited by our human biases and assumptions, you know?
It's like AI is giving us fresh eyes to see the world in a different way, to think of solutions we wouldn't have on our own.
And that could change everything.
Yeah.
From climate change to new medicines to understanding how the universe works.
So we have this super powerful tool with the potential to change so much. But like we've been saying, we got to be careful.
We can't forget that AI isn't some kind of magic. It's a tool. Like any tool, it can be used in good ways and bad ways. It all comes down to the people who are building it and using it.
That's why these conversations about AI ethics are so important.
Oh.
We need rules. We need to make sure it's being used the right way.
Absolutely. And these conversations need to include everyone, not just the AI people and the politicians, but everyone who's going to be affected by this technology.
Exactly. Because the future of AI isn't something that a few companies or governments get to decide. It's up to all of us.
So as we finish up this deep dive into Move 37 and this whole world of AI, I hope you're leaving with a sense of, wow, this is amazing, but also a sense of responsibility. You know, these are powerful technologies.
It's a future full of challenges, but it's also a future full of possibilities. And it's a future that we get to create. So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep on diving deep.